In this video, we are going to run through the basics of order entry and just to take a simple order in CMS. We have lots of options in there, and we have additional videos with more detailed explanation of some of the more advanced features. With this video, we're going to focus strictly on a simple first-time order. You can get to placing a new order this very first icon up here in the upper left-hand corner. You can also come here to the drop down and hit new orders as well, and it will go right straight into what we call order entry. From this screen, you'll see the order actually has several different pages to it, but we typically are going to start right at the very top at the beginning of an order, right here at the very first screen. The options on how this screen behaves are configured in the setup screens, and there's other videos that will go through the details of how you set those up. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just start typing in a customer's name. I'm going to use my own stuff in here, and what you'll find is when you hit the enter button, it will advance from field to field to field, and as I mentioned, we can configure this to skip certain fields or to leapfrog certain fields if you want. There's two places where during order entry, when you hit the enter button, like I'm going to here at the last name field, it's actually going to search my existing database and look to see if I'm already existing in that account. If I am, I can highlight that name and use the selected button, and it will drop that information right into the screen. In this case, I'm going to pretend I'm not and just continue taking an order. The other part too is here when I do the customer name and hit enter, it also searches by customer name. And so that's another way of searching the database to see if this person, as you're taking the order, already has an existing account. In this case, I'm going to put in my address, and I'm going to misspell it just a tiny little bit just to show you some of the new features. It jumps, as you can see, right straight to the zip code field, and CMS has a lookup which will provide you which cities that zip code are in, and you can confirm it with the customer while you're on the line. Another item that CMS newly has is an address validation tool, and what this does is use the dial-up zip service. When I click this button, it will go check with the post office and update this address based on the records at the U.S. Postal Service. And so you could see if you validated it, it turns green. If it's not, it is still red. So moving on here, you could then pull down this person's customer email address and put that in the system too. We use this for email verifications and later on shipping confirmations too. So I'm gonna just knock mine in here real quick. And as I hit enter, you'll see we'll just logically go through each of the fields that are on here. The natural progression would be right to the next page, which would be tracking and ad codes, and we certainly recommend that people put those ad codes in for every single order. Some of the other features here is we can tag how this order was taken. Did it come in on the phones, or was it from the web service, or did it get faxed in? And these are interesting statistics to play with. You have your salesperson in here, so if you take pay commissions or have reps out in the field, we can keep track of who orders what and who's supposed to get paid what, whether they're commissions or royalties or whatever. Purchase orders, you can also track purchase orders. Lots of people who take orders or do business to business have to post and track those, so we have that there too. As we progress to the next screen, we can see this is the screen in which we place orders or items on the orders. Now we have lots of options on this screen. We have multiple ship tos, we have future shipments or scheduled shipments, we also have continuity orders, and all those subjects are addressed in more advanced videos than this particular one. We're just going to stick with the simple basic stuff on this one. So you'll notice, so you can have multiple price categories. So if you have multiple pricing, you can select that one for this customer. I'm going to put a few items on this invoice just so you could see how that is. You can see it has a natural selection process through the product list based on the typing of the product codes. When it comes in, you can look at some of the technical notes you may have on file for this to help your operators answer any questions a customer might have. You can even put a picture in there too if you like, to also verify for your during order entry that the person is looking at the right thing. We also have other information that's accessible here if you fill those fields out. And here you can do line item discounts, multiple quantities. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here, and we're going to try to take another item on, put another item on this invoice. And so these are marked as drop ship down here, but on normal items you'd see the quantity in stock and purchase order information. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. You can also from these screens search by product code. So if you had a antler set up here, you could search by the description and pull up that item too as well. In this case it's discontinued, but you can see how the search feature works. We also have advanced product search features in here, but I'm going to kind of just move on here so we can continue taking this order. The next progression after you put the line items on this particular screen is the shipping screen. From here you can select which service. Again, this is all set up in the configuration that you might offer, and it would help to calculate the shipping based on a number of criteria. So I'm going to let that continue on here. Again, some of the other more advanced features that you'll see in other videos would review some of this multi-ship functionality. You can see we also have multiple boxes here, which CMS can do, and the fact is you can send separate boxes on separate services if you want to. We also have the ship to information in this screen, and in this case if I wanted to change it or alter it, I could. And so if I had a different address in here, it would then allow me to print that and send that into the shipping systems when we are ready to do that part of it. So you can also have a separate address and validate it separately here, and keep track of all of that with this customer record. You can also save these addresses back to the customer list, because when we're done placing this order, it's going to create a customer record and use this information to fill in the blanks in that customer record. So you don't have to do that twice. All of that happens automatically. Continuing on here onto the next screen, which is the money screen, this is where the entire order sort of gets totaled up, and we can set it up for payment, or whether you're doing a net 30 or paying credit cards, you can do all of that here from this screen. And also set it up to collect taxes to specific jurisdictions or anywhere in the country. Another part of the configuration. You can do wholesale discounts, adjustments, shipping charges, insurance, lots of other methods of collecting money on these invoices. Also, you can have a separate billing address for this particular order, and typically most customers would ask for the billing address on the credit card for this particular screen. In this case, if I was to take payment for it, let's say I'm going to pay on a Visa card, the natural progression would fill in the blanks for me on this invoice, and I'm going to put in a phony credit card here for you, and just to show you that it has a validation key on there too to make sure that you're putting the right digits in there. So I'm going to add one more. Well, wrong way. Put in the right number of digits. There it goes. Again, this is all test environment. Anyway, during the credit card processing, you can approve it right here in order entry. You can do approvals and captures. You could do it based on just shipped invoices being captured. There's lots of setup functionality you can do with that. You can also do multiple payments here too. So if you had a gift certificate or they wanted to pay on 2 credit cards, you can add additional payments right here on the fly, and that works great. The next step here in this setup is going to the notes sections, and so we have lots of tools that you can create and add paragraphs to these to help you fill in these blanks quickly and easily. You don't have to use those. You could set up a bunch of different ones of these. They're clearly optional, but they help order takers to fill in the blanks and add notes quickly. This notes here show up on the invoice. We have internal notes that don't, and we also have a section at the end here which would update any customer information at the customer level, whether it was the notes or to fill in some of the other information points that you may like to collect during order entry or setting up a new customer. This was certainly the place to do it. The final screen here is what we call the View Invoice screen. Lets you summarize the entire order on one screen so you can review the shipping information, the items that are being ordered, how it's being shipped, the payment, all of it showing up on one screen. And when I finally am ready to finish it, I can hit the Save button, at which time CMS will save this order, assign a new order number, clear the screen, and prepare it to take a new order. And before I finish here, we also have the ability here under this Save As to, instead of saving it as completed order, to either save it temporarily so I can come back and alter it, or save it as what we call a pro forma or quote, which would allow me to save the contents of this order but wouldn't call it a sale yet or wouldn't pull inventory yet until I wanted it to. So I'm going to save it as a completed order just so you can see how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and I haven't run this card, so that's one reason why it's not letting me run that. I'm going to go ahead and set that and save. Anyway, you get the idea. That's how simple order entry is taken. We'll have another video here on taking orders directly from the customer list, which is fast and quick if you have lots of repeat business. So look for that video. Look for the more advanced order entry videos too to review some of those additional features. Okay, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or need further help, let us know and we'll be happy to address it. Thanks.